Brienne's lungs had already been on fire when the child screamed. The crowd had surged, hungry eyes fixed on the trembling girl chained to the auction block as men hurled bids like knives. A cough tore Brienne's throat raw, the taste of blood sharp on her tongue, and still she clutched her last 4 gold coins, meant for the healer. Then the bearded wolf stepped forward, hand closing around the rope. The auctioneer raised his arm to seal the sale. Before sense could catch up, Brienne's voice cut through the market. 4 gold crowns, unless you want the Alpha King hearing you sell children. Chapter 1. The 4 gold coins were warm in Brienne's palm. 4 days of medicine. Maybe 5 if she stretched it. The auctioneer's voice cut through the market noise. Fresh stock. Young, trainable won't give you trouble. Brienne should have kept walking. She had an appointment with the healer in an hour. The cough rattling her ribs couldn't wait much longer. The healer had been clear about that. But the girl on the block was barely 12, wrists bound, and the men circling below weren't looking at her like they needed a kitchen maid. Their eyes made Brienne's stomach turn. 50 silver, one shouted. 60. The girl's gaze found Brienne through the crowd. Grey eyes, too calm for someone so young. Her lips moved. Please. Brienne's hand opened before her brain caught up. 4 gold crowns. The market went silent. You? The auctioneer squinted at her. Girl, you look half dead yourself. 4 crowns. Now. Brienne's lungs seized, but she forced the words out. Or I start asking why you're selling children in Alpha Draven's territory without papers. A bluff. She had no idea if the girl had papers. The auctioneer's eyes narrowed, but one of the bidders, thick-necked, oil in his beard, stepped forward. I'll double it. Then spend 8 crowns, Brienne said. I'll wait. Laughter rippled through the crowd. The man's face went red. The auctioneer snatched her coins. Sold. The rope dropped from the girl's wrists. She walked down, bare feet silent on stone, and stopped in front of Brienne. Thank you, she said quietly. Her accent was wrong for Frostveil. Too refined, vowels clipped like nobility. Brienne tried to answer. The coughing fit hit instead, doubling her over, tasting like copper. When she could breathe again, the girl was holding her elbow. Come on, the girl said, before they change their minds. The bearded man watched them leave. You'll regret this, he said, just loud enough. Brienne gripped the girl's hand and pulled her into the crowd. Her room above the tannery was barely bigger than a closet. 1 straw pallet, a broken wash basin, a hearth that only worked when it felt like it. The stench of curing hides seeped through the floorboards. It's not much, Brienne said. The girl turned in a slow circle, checking the door first, then the window, testing the bar with surprising strength. Only then did she relax. I'm Soraya. No family name. Brienne filed that away. Brienne? You live alone? Yes. Good. Soraya sat on the floor, not the pallet. Where will you sleep? I'll manage. You're exhausted. The coughing started again. Worse this time. Brienne's vision darkened at the edges, her chest trying to turn itself inside out. Small hands found her shoulders, rubbing firm circles between her ribs. Breathe slowly. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Brienne followed the rhythm. The fit eased. How did you know to do that? She asked when she could talk. My uncle. Soraya's voice went soft. He used to cough like this. The healers taught me. She paused. He said if the breathing slows, the fear does too. Smart man. He is. Something fierce entered Soraya's eyes. They took him. I'm going to find him. Brienne studied her. That wasn't the voice of an orphan or a runaway. That was someone who'd never been told no in her life, and still believed it wouldn't happen. Your uncle sounds important. Soraya's hand went to her throat, fingers closing around something under her dress. For a second, metal glinted, a pendant on a leather cord. I thought they took everything from you, Brienne said. They tried. I bit one until he dropped it. Soraya's chin lifted. It's mine. She didn't explain further. Brienne didn't push. She was too busy calculating how to eat for the next week with an empty purse. I'll find you clothes tomorrow, Brienne said, and food. You spent everything on me. I noticed. You shouldn't have. Brienne met her eyes. I couldn't watch them buy you, that's all. Soraya stared at her for a long moment. Then I'll repay you. With what? Everything I have left. The words hung between them, too solemn for a child. Night fell. Brienne stirred the embers until they caught, orange light filling the room. Sleep. We'll figure things out tomorrow. You should sleep on the pallet, Soraya said. I'll sit by the door. Why? In case they come back, I'll wake first. Brienne wanted to argue, but the girl's expression stopped her. She'd seen that look before, on soldiers, on guards, people trained to calculate exits. Fine, Brienne said, but if anyone comes, you wake me. Soraya nodded, settling cross-legged by the door. Brienne lay down, bones aching. The last thing she saw before sleep took her was Soraya's fingers, white-knuckled around the hidden pendant. Far north of Frostveil, in the deep woods, a man in black leathers stopped mid-stride. His hand went to his chest, where a matching sigil hung beneath his shirt. Heat pulsed against his skin. Soraya, Alpha King Arthelion whispered. His wolf surged forward, teeth bared. He turned south and started running. Chapter 2. Brienne woke to burning leather and a coughing fit that felt like her lungs were trying to escape. Here. A cup touched her lips. Cool water. She drank, gasping between swallows. Soraya's hand was steady on her head. Does it always sound like that? Soraya asked. Worse when it's damp. Brienne's voice came out raw. Or when I work too long. Then don't work too long. She laughed, thin. That's not how surviving works here. It should be different. Soraya's jaw set. In my uncle's court, no pack wolf would rot from sickness, and no one would sell children without losing their head. Brienne's eyebrows rose. Your uncle must be very powerful. Soraya's expression shuttered. He was. I don't know where he is now. So you lived in a court. Colour touched Soraya's cheeks. Behind walls, guards, lessons, rules. I wasn't supposed to wonder. Her fingers picked at her dress. But the woods always looked freer. How did you end up here? Soraya's breathing hitched. We were travelling. My uncle, his guards, me. Men attacked us on the road. Wolves with wrong eyes. Our guards fought them. My uncle took me into the trees and told me to run if he said so. Her voice thinned. He pushed me into a hollow and told me to stay quiet. And I didn't listen. I crawled out when it went silent. Couldn't smell him, just smoke and blood. Strangers found me first. She swallowed. They locked my hands, took my pendant. I bit one until he dropped it. After that, they tied my mouth too. Brienne's chest tightened. This wasn't an orphan or a debtor's child. Someone had attacked a noble's carriage. You said your uncle's powerful, Brienne said carefully. Is he a lord? Soraya looked at the window. He's Alpha King. The words dropped like stones. Brienne stared. Tales of the Alpha King filtered down as warnings. A ruler whose howl could break men, who'd united fractious packs, who punished traitors without mercy. You're his niece. My mother was his sister. She died when I was small. Soraya's fingers clenched. If he's alive, he's looking. If he's dead, whoever took me will sell me to his enemies. Brienne's mind spun. She'd bought the Alpha King's niece. In Frostveil, harboring royal blood without permission was treason. You should have told me. You would have taken me back, to whoever wanted leverage. Brienne opened her mouth, then closed it. She couldn't argue. Alpha Draven would trade Soraya for favor in a heartbeat. Does anyone else know? They called me Royal Brat and Silver Eyes. Enough to know I was valuable, maybe not exactly who. Brienne rubbed her temples. You're not safe here, but I have nowhere better. Why help at all? Soraya asked. You owed me nothing. You needed that money. Brienne almost said, because I remember being helpless. Instead, because I couldn't walk away. Soraya nodded slowly. My uncle says there are two kinds of wolves. Those who look away from suffering, and those who step closer. One kind builds kingdoms, the other tears them down. Which am I? You stepped closer. A horn sounded outside, deep, ceremonial. Then another. Brienne went still. That's not local. Hooves drummed in the distance. A voice shouted from below, Make way! Riders from the High Court! Brienne's blood went cold. She crossed to the window. Black horses, dark leathers, white-trimmed cloaks, banners snapping with a silver wolf's head ringed in thorns and stars. Soraya stood beside her, fingers digging into the sill. That's his banner? He's here. If he's here, he'll search everything, Brienne said. People saw me by you. They saw you leave with me. They'll drag you before him, Soraya finished. He'll ask why you took me. And Draven will make sure I take the blame. The horn sounded again, closer. If my uncle finds me, Soraya said, he'll protect you. You don't know that. I do. He keeps his word. Boots pounded on the stairs. Both turned as a fist crashed against the door. By order of Alpha King Arthelion, open up! Chapter 3. Brienne lifted the bar with shaking hands. The door jerked open. A man filled the frame, tall, broad-shouldered, black hair threaded with silver. His eyes swept the room in one practiced motion. They caught on Soraya. Everything else vanished from his face. Hard lines softened. Disbelief flashed into raw relief. Soraya. The girl was already moving. She hit him hard enough that he staggered, arms closing around her. You're alive, he said roughly. Moon above, you're alive. Told you couldn't get rid of me. Her voice shook between laughter and tears. He pulled back enough to check her. Shoulders, arms, face. You're hurt? Just my wrists and my pride. They sold me, Arthelion. His expression went cold. Who? Brienne flinched. Soraya glanced at her. I'll tell you everything, but first, this is Brienne. Silver Eyes turned on her. The impact was immediate. The room narrowed. Pine scent curled around her senses, sharp and clean. Her wolf, usually silent, lifted its head, ears pricked. Heat ran down her spine. Brienne straightened. Your Majesty. His gaze flicked over her, bare feet, worn dress, trembling hands, the pallor from coughing. Something shifted in his expression. You purchased my niece. Not a question. Brienne swallowed. Yes. Why? Anger pricked under her fear. Because she was being sold. Because no one else cared what happened after. Because it didn't matter who she was. She was a child. That was enough. Silence stretched. A guard shifted in the hall, hand on his sword. She spent everything, Soraya said. All her money. She was coughing so hard she could barely stand. She saved me. Uncle. His jaw tightened. You're ill. It's my concern. When your illness comes from working in my realm's tanneries, without protection, it's mine. His voice was quiet. Dangerous. I'm not asking you for anything. She's stubborn, Soraya said. Like you. His mouth almost twitched. I see. He turned slightly. Send word to Lord Draven. Tell him the king requests his presence at the central hall. We'll discuss the illegal sale of royal blood in his territory. The guard paled. At once, Majesty. Footsteps hammered away. Voices rose outside. Arthelion looked back at Brienne. You'll come to the hall, both of you. I want names, descriptions, everything. Frostveil's Alpha won't be pleased to see me beside you. He'll be less pleased by what comes after. I don't permit my kin to be treated as livestock. His eyes cooled. I don't permit anyone's kin to be treated as livestock under my banner. Something in Brienne's chest gave a traitorous lurch. Then her lungs seized. She coughed once, twice, the fit ripping through her. Her knees buckled. A hand caught her elbow before she fell. Heat flared where he touched her. His grip was steady, unyielding. Brienne's vision blurred. Easy, he said quietly. Something in his tone reached past the panic. She focused on his breathing, slow, measured, a matched. It, in, out. The spasms eased faster than usual. When the last cough shuddered through her, she realized her weight was against his chest, her cheek brushing leather and fur. His heart beat hard and sure beneath her ear. He smelled like snow and pine and something wild that made her wolf stir. Let go, she rasped. He did, immediately, but his gaze stayed on her face. How long have you been like this? Long enough. She had a parchment from the healer, Soraya added, for medicine. She spent the coins on me instead. Brienne shot her a look. Soraya shrugged. Of course she did, Arthelion said under his breath. His mouth firmed. You'll see the royal healer after the hall. I won't argue. You don't have a say over who lives and dies in my realm? He arched a brow. I disagree. Their eyes met. Something thickened between them, heavier than fear, sharper than anger. Soraya watched with open curiosity. What? Brienne snapped. Nothing. You smell different near him. Brienne choked. Excuse me. Arthelion's gaze flicked to his niece. Amusement edged his mouth. We'll discuss your blurting habit later. For now, cloak up. He swung his outer cloak around Soraya's shoulders, hiding the rope marks. Then he unclipped the fur-trimmed mantle from his own and settled it around Brienne before she could protest. The weight was warm and heavy. The scent of him wrapped around her. Arthelion, wear it. Let Frostveil see where you stand when we walk through that hall. Her pulse jumped. At your side? With the one who saved my niece. He turned toward the door. They should be afraid. The central hall was packed. Stone walls rose high, banners hanging like frozen waves. Arthelion stood before the dais, feet planted, hands loose. Brienne hovered behind him, acutely aware of every eye on the fur mantle across her shoulders. Lord Draven paced near the wall, sweating. His beta, Cadris, the bearded man from the auction, tried to look bored and failed. Begin, Arthelion said. Brienne told them everything, the square, the auctioneer, the bidders, the way they'd looked at Soraya. Her lungs strained, but she kept her voice steady. Cadrus laughed when she finished. With respect, Majesty, this is a sickly tanner's woman. The lower market's full of drama. Children get offered as servants all the time. How was anyone to know she carried royal blood? Arthelion turned his head. Slowly. What did you say? Cadrus faltered. Only that the girl was clearly astray. No crest, no escort. She had the pendant, Soraya said, which could have been stolen, forged, for all we know. Enough. The word pressed the air flat. Wolves throughout the hall ducked their heads, ears ringing with resonance that had nothing to do with sound. Brienne's wolf rolled onto its back in instinctive submission. But part of her, stubborn, human, just watched with astonishment. You claim ignorance, Arthelion said to Draven. Your beta dismisses my niece as a liar. Traders sold a child in daylight and paid no consequence until today. Why should I leave your leadership in place? Draven's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Arthelion turned to Brienne. Step closer. Heat crawled up her throat. Standing beside him in front of all these wolves would mark her, tie her fate to his in ways she didn't understand yet. But Soraya's steady gaze anchored her. Brienne stepped forward until she stood at his right hand, his scent wrapped around her. Her wolf shivered. This woman, Arthelion said, saw injustice and risked everything to stop it. You call her sickly, I call her brave. In my packs, courage is worth more than coin. A murmur, almost a growl of agreement, rose from the lower-ranked wolves. Until I'm satisfied, Frostveil can protect its weakest. Brienne will be under my personal protection. Brienne's heart stumbled. Cadrus scowled. Majesty, surely. She'll quarter with my travelling retinue. She'll receive full medical attention from my healer. Any attempt to threaten, coerce, or remove her will be treated as an attack on my household. Shock rippled through the room. You can't just... Brienne started. I can, and I have. He said it quietly, just for her. Guards began ushering pack members out. Arthelion's temper cooled into something sharper than anger. As Brienne was led toward the royal encampment, cloak heavy with his scent and his promise, her wolf finally woke fully, bracing for whatever impossible tie had just formed between a sick tanner's daughter and the most powerful alpha in the realm. Chapter 4. The royal encampment overlooked Frostveil from a ridge of stone and pine. Brienne's assigned tent held more than her entire room. A real bed piled with furs, a chest, a basin with clean water. The healer, an older woman named Velira, examined her with brisk hands. Lung rot from fumes. Years of it. You should have been treated ages ago. I couldn't afford. You can now. You're under his protection, which means you're under mine. She pressed a stethoscope to Brienne's back. Sit up. Bitter medicine followed. Steam treatments, herbs, a salve rubbed into her ribs. The fits didn't vanish, but when they came, they loosened faster. By dusk, Brienne's limbs hummed with exhaustion and restless energy. Soraya had vanished to be gently interrogated over soup. Then the tent flap rustled. Arthelion stepped inside. He'd shed his cloak, leaving black leather and linen, sleeves rolled to his forearms. The sight tightened something low in her stomach. She sat straighter. Shouldn't you be terrifying, Draven? I did that already. He won't sleep well. He paused. He keeps his title for now, under supervision. 2 of my betas will audit his accounts and watch his patrols. If they find one more child on a block, Draven loses more than sleep. Good. He studied her. How do you feel? Less like my lungs are slicing themselves open. Your healer's thorough. Valera doesn't accept losing patients, especially ones I tell her I want alive. Heat crept up her neck. So that's all I am? A patient? A witness? A way to ease your conscience? His brows rose. You think that little of me? She looked at her hands. The fur blanket beneath her fingers was softer than anything she'd touched in years. I think you're a king. You'll ride away. Frostveil will remain. I'll be a story Soraya tells when she's older. Is that what you want? Her head snapped up. His gaze was too open. I want. The words tangled. I don't know what I'm allowed to want. Allowed. He said it like the word tasted bitter. He stepped closer. You saved the most precious person in my life. You're not a piece I'll forget. He stopped close enough that she had to tilt her head up. You say that now, she said, when the guilt's fresh. You think this is guilt? His gaze dropped briefly to her mouth. It's not guilt making my wolf pace whenever I smell you in camp. Her breath caught. Your wolf? He recognized you the moment I saw you in that room. Before you spoke. Before I knew your name. His voice dropped. He pushed forward so hard I nearly lost composure in front of my guard. Why? His lips curved without humor. Because he thinks you're mine. Her heart lurched. The lamplight, the tense intimacy, the steady drip of meltwater. All of it narrowed to the space between them. That's ridiculous. I'm sick. I'm no one. I don't even shift properly. Tell him that. He doesn't care. He only knows your scent makes him calm and restless at once. Brienne's wolf rolled onto its paws, ears pricked. Something tugged between them, like thread catching on rough cloth. This could be a mistake, she whispered, a reaction to danger. It could be, which is why I haven't claimed anything. I won't bind you with a bond you're not ready for. You're giving me a choice? Of course. He reached out slowly, giving her time. When she didn't pull away, his fingers brushed hair from her cheek. Heat flared where he touched. You've had too few choices. I refuse to become another force that takes them. His hand dropped. The absence stung. If you wish, I'll treat you as any honored guest. You'll heal, receive a stipend for your courage, then return to whatever life you choose. No obligation. And if I don't wish that? His eyes darkened. Then you stay by my side while you heal. Travel with us to the High Court. See what it means when a king reforms a pack. Not just in edicts, but in streets. Advise me about the lower ranks I can't always see. And you? He hesitated. I'll court you. Slowly, properly, in a way that lets your wolf and mine decide if this thing between us is madness or fate. The word, court, felt like a story told by women with easier lives. Courted, yes, a faint smile. Gifts that aren't coins you spend on medicine. Walks where the air's clean. Stealing time between councils to learn what makes you laugh, not just what makes you brave. Her chest ached for reasons beyond disease. You make it sound simple. It won't be. A king and a tanner's daughter. There'll be whispers, resistance. Men like Cadrus, who think they can undermine what they don't understand. High stakes. Very high. Silence stretched. Brienne thought of Frostveil's alleys, of coughing, until she tasted blood. She thought of Soraya's fingers in hers, of Arthelian's voice gentling when he told Valera he wanted her alive. What if I say yes now and regret it later? What if I can't bear your court, your enemies, your expectations? Then we stop. I won't hold you with chains. golden or invisible. If you say yes, I want it because you want this, not because you feel you owe me." She believed him. That tipped the balance. "Then we try. We go slowly. We let our wolves decide." His exhale sounded like relief. "We try." He reached for her again, slower. She didn't retreat. When his fingers brushed her jaw, then slid along her neck, her breath caught. "May I?" he asked. The question startled her. Kings didn't ask permission of women like her. "Yes." His thumb brushed her pulse once, slow. Then he leaned in. The kiss was careful, warm, restrained, tinged with promise. His lips moved against hers with controlled hunger, as if he held back more than he allowed. His scent wrapped around her, sinking deeper than breath. Brienne's fingers curled in his tunic. Her wolf surged forward, meeting his presence with an answering rush. When he drew back, he stayed close enough that his breath brushed her lips. "Too much?" His voice was rough. She shook, her head. "Not enough," she blurted, then clapped a hand over her mouth. A low laugh escaped him, softening his whole face. "Careful. Talk like that, and I'll forget my noble plans. You wanted to court. I still do." His thumb traced her lower lip. "But I also want to kiss you again every time you look at me like that." "Like what?" "Like you can't decide whether to trust me or push me out." He smiled. "Both are distracting." A soft cough sounded outside. Arthelion straightened, the king settling over him. "Enter!" Soraya poked her head in, eyes bright. "Am I interrupting?" "Yes," Arthelion said. "No," Brienne answered. Soraya grinned. "Good. Valera says Brienne needs rest, and I need to ask you both something." Arthelion stepped back, though his gaze lingered. "What is it?" "Valera says we leave at dawn. The lower packs are gossiping. Some think you'll punish Draven. Some think you'll forget." Her shoulders squared. "I want to stay long enough to see the changes." "You will. We'll pass through again." "I gave my word." Soraya nodded, then turned to Brienne. "And you're not allowed to change your mind in the night." "About what?" "About coming with us. I heard you. Valera listens at tent walls. She said your voices sounded very charged." Brienne choked. Arthelion muttered something that might have been Valera's name and a threat. "You saved me," Soraya continued. "Uncles saved me all my life. I want you both in the same place. It feels right." Brienne looked from the girl to the man, to the open tent flap where packs waited. "High stakes," she said again, softer. "High rewards," Soraya countered. Arthelion's gaze met hers. Fear lived there, of failure, of loss, but also fierce, quiet hope. "Dawn," he said. "We ride together." Brienne's fingers tightened around Soraya's. Her future looked nothing like any path she'd imagined. But as she lay back, the king's taste on her lips and his scent on her skin, she realized something simple and staggering. For the first time in years, she wasn't bracing for everything to get worse. She was bracing for everything to begin. Outside, on the ridge above Frostveil, the Alpha King lifted his face to the moon and let his wolf howl, not in rage or grief, but in raw, unguarded hunger for a future that held a stubborn, sickly tanner's daughter, with a heart reckless enough to spend her last coins on a stranger. Far below, in Frostveil's alleys, watching eyes narrowed. The game had only just begun. Chapter 5. The road north was nothing like Brienne expected. She'd imagined forced marches, sleeping on cold ground, eating rations that tasted like leather. Instead, Arthelian's company moved with practiced efficiency. Tents raised in minutes, meals hot and plentiful, healers checking on her twice daily. Velera watched her like a hawk. "You're breathing easier." Brienne nodded. 3 days of clean air and proper medicine had done more than months in Frostveil. She could walk without her chest seizing, sleep without waking to cough. "Good. Keep it up." Velera squeezed her shoulder. "You'll be running soon." Running. Brienne couldn't remember the last time she'd run anywhere except away from trouble. That afternoon, Arthelian found her watching the horses. "Do you ride?" he asked. "Not well. The tannery had a cart mule." His mouth twitched. "Come on." He led her to a grey mare with kind eyes. "This is Mist. She's patient with new riders." "I don't need." "I know you don't need it. I'm offering because I want to." He held out his hand. "Trust me." She took it. His palm was warm, calloused. He helped her mount, then swung onto his black stallion with easy grace. They rode out from camp, Soraya watching from the cook tent with a knowing grin. The forest opened around them, pine and oak, autumn gold filtering through leaves. Brienne's thighs ached from gripping the saddle, but the movement felt like freedom. "You're doing well," Arthelian said. "I'm not falling off." "Low bar." He laughed, a real one, unguarded. "Fair." They rode in comfortable silence until they reached a clearing with a stream. He dismounted, helped her down. Their hands lingered a moment too long. "Why did you really bring me out here?" she asked. "Because back there, I'm the king. Out here..." He shrugged. "Out here, I'm just someone who wanted to spend time with you." Her heart did something complicated. "You're always the king." "Not when you look at me." His gaze held hers. "You see me. Not the crown, not the power. Just me." It's been a long time since anyone did that. She wanted to kiss him. The thought came sudden and fierce. Before she could move, hoofbeats thundered from camp. A guard burst into the clearing. "Majesty, there's a dispute. 2 alphas from the southern packs. They're refusing mediation." Arthelian's expression shifted, the king settling back into place. "I'm coming." He looked at Brienne. "Come with me. I want you to see this." The disputed alphas faced each other across a camp table, bristling. One was older, grey-bearded, the other younger, scarred. "He stole 3 of my pack members," the older one snarled. "They came willingly," the younger shot back. "Your pack treats Omegas like dirt." Arthelian listened, face impassive. When they finished, he turned to Brienne. "What do you think?" Every eye swung to her. Her throat went dry. "Me? You spent your life in the lower ranks. What would you do?" She swallowed, then stepped forward. "I think you're both wrong." The younger alpha's eyes narrowed. "Excuse me. You're fighting over pack members like they're property. Did anyone ask what they want?" She looked at Arthelian. "Where are these 3 wolves now?" His lips curved slightly. "Bring them," he told a guard. 3 women arrived, nervous, eyes down. Brienne recognized the posture. She'd worn it herself. "You're not in trouble," Brienne said gently. "We just want to know. Where do you want to be?" The eldest woman glanced between the alphas, then at Brienne. Something in her expression eased. "Anywhere but his pack," she said, nodding at the older alpha. "He let his betas touch us. We complained. Nothing changed." The older alpha's face went red. "They're lying." "Enough." Arthelian's voice cut like a blade. He turned to the man. "You'll submit to a formal investigation. If these allegations hold, You'll lose your title." He looked at the younger alpha. "You'll accept these women into your pack with full protections. Any mistreatment, and you answer to me." Both men paled, dismissed. When they'd gone, Arthelion looked at Brienne. "Well done. I just asked a question. A question I should have asked first." His hand found hers briefly. "Thank you." That night, sitting by the fire with Saraya between them, Brienne felt something shift. This wasn't just about attraction or gratitude anymore. She was starting to believe she belonged here. A week into the journey, Brienne woke before dawn. Her chest felt light, clear. She slipped out of her tent and ran, not fast, not far, just across the camp's perimeter, feet flying over grass, lungs pulling in air that didn't burn. Joy bubbled up, unexpected and fierce. When she stopped, breathless and grinning, Arthelion was watching from his tent entrance. "You're running," he said softly. "I'm running." She laughed, dizzy with it. He crossed to her in 3 strides and kissed her. This wasn't careful like before. This was hunger, unleashed, his mouth hot and demanding, hands cupping her face. She grabbed his shirt, pulling him closer, and heard him groan low in his throat. His wolf pushed forward. She could feel it. Dominant, possessive. Her own wolf rose to meet it, no longer cowering. They fit. Arthelion. "I know." He rested his forehead against hers, breathing hard. "Too fast?" "No, not fast enough." She pulled back to meet his eyes. "I'm tired of waiting. Tired of being careful. Brienne." His voice roughened with want and restraint. "If we do this, there's no going back. My wolf will claim you. The bond—" "I know what a mating bond is." She pressed her hand to his chest, feeling his heart race. "I want it. I want you." "You're certain? Are you always this careful with what you want?" He laughed, low and dark. "Not usually, but you're not just anything I want. You're everything." The words settled into her bones. "Then take me," she whispered. His control snapped. He kissed her again, deeper, hands sliding into her hair. She felt his wolf brush against hers, tentative, asking permission. Her wolf answered with a joyful surge, twining around his like they'd always belonged together. Heat built between them, primal and right. "Not here," he managed against her mouth. "Come with me." He led her to his tent, fingers laced through hers. Inside, lamplight painted everything gold. He turned to her, eyes molten silver. "Last chance to change your mind." "I won't." He undressed her slowly, reverently, lips following the path of his hands. When she reached for his shirt, he helped her, then pulled her down onto the furs. What followed was both tender and fierce. 2 wolves, recognizing their mate. 2 people choosing each other despite impossible odds. When he finally claimed her, his teeth at her throat in the traditional marking, the bond snapped into place like a lock, finding its key. Power surged through her. Her wolf, always weak and small, suddenly blazed strong. She felt Arthelion's presence in her mind, solid, protective, hers. And he felt her, brave and stubborn and utterly unafraid of him. "Mine," he growled against her skin. "Yours," she agreed, "and you're mine. Always." They lay tangled together afterward, hearts slowing. Through the bond, she felt his contentment, his fierce possessiveness, his love. Love. It had crept up on them both. "The court won't like this," she said quietly. "I don't care." His arms tightened. "Let them object. You're my mate now. My queen." Queen. The word should have terrified her. Instead, it felt right. Outside, Soraya's voice rang out. Finally, I thought they'd dance around it forever. Brienne groaned. Arthelion laughed against her hair. She's not wrong, he admitted. How much did she hear? Probably everything. These tents aren't soundproof. He kissed her temple. Regrets? None. And she meant it. Chapter 6. The High Court rose from white stone, towers piercing the sky. Brienne's first sight of it made her mouth go dry. It's just a building, Arthelion murmured, reading her nervousness through the bond. It's a palace. It's where we live. You'll get used to it. She wasn't sure about that. The courtyard bustled with activity. Servants, guards, nobles in fine clothes, who stopped and stared when they saw her riding beside the king. Whispers followed, like a wake. Who is she? Did you see the mark on her throat? He actually mated her. Brienne lifted her chin, refusing to shrink. Arthelion's hand found hers. Through the bond. Breathe. You belong here, because I say you do. That helped. Soraya bounded ahead. I'm going to find the kitchens. They make these little cakes. After you bathe, Arthelion called. Spoil sport. He led Brienne inside. The entrance hall was massive. Marble floors, tapestries, a chandelier that probably cost more than Frostveil's entire market. An older woman in elegant robes swept toward them. Your Majesty, welcome home. Her eyes flicked to Brienne, assessing. And this must be the one everyone's talking about. Lady Marin, my High Counselor. Arthelion's tone held warning. Brienne is my mate. She'll be treated as such. Marin's eyebrows rose. Of course. She didn't sound convinced. The council will want to meet her. Tomorrow. Tonight, she rests. He guided Brienne through corridors that blurred together. His chambers, their chambers now, were larger than her entire building in Frostveil. A 4-poster bed, a bathing room with actual hot water, windows overlooking gardens. This is too much, she said. It's yours. He pulled her close. All of it. I know it's overwhelming. We'll take it slow. A knock interrupted them. A servant entered, nervous. Majesty, there's been a situation. Arthelion sighed. What now? One of the councillors is demanding an audience. He says it's urgent. Tell him. He's already in the meeting hall, with several others. Arthelion's jaw tightened. Through the bond, Brienne felt his frustration spike. Fine, I'm coming. I'll come too, Brienne said. You don't have to. If they're going to object to me, I want to hear it directly. Pride flickered through the bond. All right, stay close. The meeting hall held 5 councillors, all older, all radiating disapproval. The one who'd called the meeting, silver-haired, thin-lipped, stood at the head. Your Majesty, he said, we need to discuss your recent choice. My mate, you mean? Arthelion's voice was ice. Say what you came to say, Councillor Ovid. You mated a commoner, without consulting the council, without considering political alliances. Ovid's gaze slid to Brienne. No offence, my dear, but you're hardly suitable for... Choose your next words carefully. Arthelion interrupted. My wolf is very close to the surface. Brienne stepped forward. Let him talk. I want to hear this. Ovid looked, surprised, then recovered. Very well. You have no training, no education in governance, no bloodline. You were a tanner's assistant. How can you possibly help rule? I've spent my life in the lower ranks, Brienne cut in. I know what it's like when alphas abuse their power. I know how pack law looks from the bottom. She met his eyes. Your king just resolved a dispute by asking the wolves what they wanted, instead of treating them like property. I suggested that. Would your political alliance have done the same? Silence. She has a point, one of the other councillors murmured. Ovid's face darkened. Regardless, the bond was premature. It should be dissolved. Arthelion moved so fast Brienne barely saw it. One moment he stood beside her. The next, he had Ovid by the throat, lifted off the ground. You want to say that again? His voice was barely human. Suggest dissolving my mate bond? Arthelion, Brienne said quietly. He didn't respond. His wolf was in control now, eyes blazing. She stepped closer, hand on his arm. Through the bond. I'm fine. He's just scared. Put him down. Slowly, Arthelion's grip loosened. Ovid dropped, gasping. The bond stands, Arthelion said to the room. Brienne is my mate and your future queen. Anyone who objects can leave the court. Permanently. No one moved. Good. Now get out. They filed out. Ovid last, casting dark looks. When they were alone, Arthelion pulled Brienne into his arms. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have lost control. You were protecting me. She kissed his jaw. I'm not fragile. I can handle disapproval. I know, but I don't like watching them disrespect you. They'll come around, or they won't. Either way, I'm not going anywhere. Through the bond, his love wrapped around her like warmth. That night, Brienne couldn't sleep. She wandered the halls, learning the palace's geography, until voices stopped her outside a door. Needs to be handled carefully. She recognized Ovid's voice. The king won't change his mind, someone else said. Then we make her change hers. Ovid's voice dropped. There are ways. Make her uncomfortable enough. She'll leave on her own. And if she doesn't, then we escalate. Brienne's blood ran cold. She backed away slowly, then ran back to their chambers. Arthelion was still awake, reviewing documents. He looked up when she burst in. What's wrong? She told him everything. His expression went deadly. I'll have him arrested. No, not yet. Her mind raced. If you arrest him now, you look like a tyrant protecting his mate. Others who agree with him will just hide better. She met his eyes. Let him try. We'll expose him properly. You want to use yourself as bait? I want to prove I can handle court politics, that I belong here. She took his hands. Trust me. Through the bond, she felt his reluctance war with respect. I don't like it, he said finally. I know. But I trust you. He pulled her close. We do this together. And if he crosses a line, then you can feed him to your wolf. He huffed a laugh against her hair. Deal. Chapter 7. The first attempt came 3 days later. Brienne was walking the gardens when she heard a scream. She ran toward it and found a servant girl on the ground, basket spilled, face pale. What happened? The stone. It just fell. The girl pointed up. Brienne looked. A loose piece of the garden wall's coping lay near her feet. If she'd been standing 2 steps to the left. Are you hurt? Brienne asked the girl. No, miss. Just scared. Brienne helped her up, gathering the spilled items. But her mind was racing. That stone hadn't fallen naturally. The break was too clean. She sent the girl away, then examined the wall. Fresh chisel marks scored the mortar. Someone had loosened it deliberately. Through the bond. Arthelion. What's wrong? Someone just tried to drop a stone on my head. His rage blazed so fierce she nearly staggered. Where are you? East Garden. I'm fine. It missed. I'm coming. No, not yet. We need to catch them, remember? His reluctance pulsed through the bond, but he stayed away. The second attempt was poison in her wine at dinner. Brienne smelled it before she drank. Bitter almonds beneath the sweetness. She pretended to sip, then set the cup down. Not to your taste? Ovid asked from across the table. Too sweet. She smiled. I prefer water. His eyes flickered with something that might have been annoyance. That night, she gave the wine to Valera. Test this. The healer's face went grim. Moonsbane. Wouldn't kill you, but you'd be sick for weeks. Long enough to make you seem weak. Unsuitable. Can you trace who made it? Give me a day. The third attempt came during a council meeting. Brienne was sitting beside Arthelion when Ovid stood. With respect, Your Majesty, we need to discuss the succession. Arthelion's eyes narrowed. What about it? Your mate is common-born. Any children would be half-bloods. Ovid's voice was reasonable, sympathetic. For the stability of the realm, perhaps you should consider alternatives. Alternatives. Arthelion's voice was dead calm. Explain. A second wife of proper bloodline. Your mate could retain her position, but the succession would... Brienne stood. Every eye turned to her. Let me make something clear, she said quietly. I didn't ask to be queen. I didn't seek power or position. I bought a child in a market because no one else would. That's the only reason I'm here. She looked at Ovid. But now that I am here, I'm not going anywhere, and I'm certainly not sharing my mate. It's not personal. It's very personal. You've tried dropping stones on me, poisoning my wine. Now you're suggesting my children aren't good enough to rule. She stepped toward him. I know you're behind this. I have proof. Ovid's face went carefully blank. That's a serious accusation. Yes, it is. She looked at Arthelion. Bring in Valera. The healer entered with a younger man, nervous, eyes down. Tell them, Valera said gently. The man swallowed. Councillor Ovid paid me to make the poison. Said it was for rats in his quarters. But I knew what Moonsbane does. I kept a record of the transaction. He held out a ledger. Arthelion took it, eyes scanning the page. His expression went deadly. Anything else? He asked Brienne. The stone in the garden. Guards found a chisel in the tool shed with fresh mortar on it. There are only 2 people with keys to that shed. She pulled out a key. I borrowed this from Ovid's chambers this morning. It fits. The room erupted. Other councillors leapt to their feet, shouting accusations. Ovid backed toward the door. Seize him, Arthelion said quietly. Guards moved. Ovid tried to run but didn't make it 3 steps. You can't do this, he snarled as they grabbed him. I'm a councillor. You were a councillor. Arthelion's voice could have frozen fire. Now you're a traitor who tried to murder my mate. You'll face trial for that. She's not worthy. A commoner can't rule. She just outsmarted you, Arthelion cut in, gathered evidence, laid a trap, and took you down without my help. If that's not worthy of ruling, I don't know what is. Brienne felt something warm bloom in her chest. Ovid was dragged away. The other councillors looked shaken. Anyone else have objections to my mate? Arthelion asked softly. Silence. Good. Meeting dismissed. That night, Arthelion paced their chambers like a caged wolf. I should have handled it sooner, before he tried to hurt you. If you had, others would have just hidden their objections. Now they know I can protect myself. Brienne caught his hand. I'm fine. We're fine. You could have been killed. But I wasn't, because I'm not the helpless tanner's daughter anymore. The bond made me stronger. She pulled him close. Your wolf gave me that. You gave me that. He kissed her then, desperate and relieved and full of love. I was terrified, he admitted against her lips. The whole time, feeling your fear through the bond, knowing you were in danger. Welcome to what it's like being mated to a king who picks fights with whole packs. He laughed roughly. Fair. We're going to face more challenges, she said. More people who think I don't belong. I need you to trust that I can handle it. I do trust you. My wolf does too. He nearly went feral when he smelled your fear, but he knew you had it under control. She rested her forehead against his chest, listening to his heartbeat. I love you. I should say that more. I love you too. His arms tightened. My brave, stubborn, brilliant mate. Through the bond, their wolves curled together, content. A week later, Arthelion called a formal assembly. The entire court gathered, nobles, councillors, guards, servants. Brienne stood beside him, in a gown that didn't quite feel like hers yet. Soraya on her other side. Some of you questioned my choice of mate, Arthelion said, voice carrying. You wondered if a common-born woman could rule beside me. He looked at Brienne, love clear in his eyes. She just uncovered a plot against her life, gathered evidence, and brought a traitor to justice, all while learning to navigate this court. He turned back to the assembly. If anyone still doubts her capability, speak now. No one did. Then it's time to make this official. He took Brienne's hand. Brienne of Frostveil, will you accept the crown? Will you rule beside me, not as my shadow, but as my equal? Her throat tightened. Equal, not a decoration or a political pawn, a true queen. Yes, she said clearly. Cheers rose from the lower-ranked wolves in the crowd, servants, guards, the people who saw themselves in her. Lady Marin stepped forward with a circlet of silver and moonstones. Then, by the power vested in me as High Counselor, I recognize you as Queen. She placed the crown on Brienne's head. The weight was lighter than expected. Arthelion kissed her in front of everyone, fierce and proud. Through the bond, his wolf howled in triumph. Hers answered strong and sure. When they broke apart, Soraya was crying. You're officially my aunt now. That's so weird. Brienne laughed, pulling her into a hug. You're stuck with me. Good. That night at the feast, Brienne watched servants laugh freely with nobles, saw lower-ranked wolves treated with respect. It wasn't perfect yet, but it was changing. She'd changed it. Arthelion found her on the balcony later, looking over the moonlit kingdom. Regrets? He asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. Not one. She leaned into him. Though I never thought I'd say, I'm queen, without it being a joke. You're a better queen than most born to it. He kissed her neck, teeth grazing the mate mark. And you're definitely better at keeping me humble. Someone has to. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the stars. I want to go back to Frostveil, Brienne said suddenly. Keep the promise you made. Make sure the changes stick. We will. Next month. And you can check on your tannery friends. I want to do more than check. I want to build healers' clinics in every lower district, places where wolves like me can get help before it's too late. His arms tightened. Done. We'll start planning tomorrow. Just like that. You're queen now. You don't need my permission. He turned her to face him. Though, I appreciate you telling me instead of just doing it. She grinned. I learned that in court. Apparently it's called communication. Radical concept. They kissed under the stars. Two wolves who'd found each other against impossible odds. And in her chest, where sickness used to live, Brienne felt only strength. Epilogue. 1 year later. The ridge above Frostveil looked different in daylight. Brienne stood at the edge, watching workers raise the frame of a new clinic below. The building was taking shape faster than expected. Local wolves volunteering their time, nobles funding materials. Change wasn't just a promise anymore. It was real. "How does it feel?" Arthelion asked, coming to stand beside her. "Like I'm dreaming, except I keep not waking up." "Good. I'd hate to lose you to reality." She smiled, leaning into his warmth. They'd spent the morning in Frostveil's lower districts, meeting with pack members, hearing complaints and suggestions. Some still looked at her with suspicion. Most saw a queen who understood them. That was enough. "The council approved your education reforms," Arthelion added. "Every pack district gets a school now, regardless of rank." "They approved it fast, because the last councillor who opposed you mysteriously found himself reassigned to the northern border." Arthelion. "What? He volunteered?" His grin was unrepentant. She shook her head, but couldn't hide her smile. "You're terrible. You love it. I love you. There's a difference." "Is there?" Before she could answer, Soraya's voice rang out from below. "Are you two going to stand up there being romantic all day? Some of us want lunch." The girl had grown in the past year. Taller, sharper, more confident. She still slept with a knife under her pillow and catalogued exits everywhere she went, but now she smiled more than she scowled. "We should go down," Brienne said. "Or..." Arthelion's eyes gleamed. "We could shift and run, like we used to plan." Her heart jumped. "Now? Why not? Soraya can handle lunch without us for an hour." Brienne looked at the forest, stretching beyond Frostveil, wild and green. A year ago, she'd been too weak to walk across a room. "Now." "Race you to the river," she said. They shifted. The transformation was smooth, painless, nothing like the agonizing attempts of her youth. Her wolf was strong now, sleek and grey with silver-tipped ears. Arthelion's was massive, black with those same silver eyes. He huffed, tail wagging once, then he took off. She chased him through the trees, wind in her fur, lungs pulling in clear air. No pain, no burning, no fear, just speed and joy and the thrill of the hunt. He let her catch him at the river. Or maybe she really did catch him. Hard to tell. They tumbled together in the shallows, playing like young wolves, splashing and nipping. Through the bond, she felt his happiness, his pride, his endless love. When they shifted back, soaking and laughing, he pulled her into his arms. "I can't believe this is real," she said. "Sometimes I think I'm still in that room above the tannery, coughing myself to death, and this is all a dying dream." "It's real." He kissed her forehead, her nose, her lips. "You're here. You're mine. You're queen of the entire realm. You reformed half the pack laws, and you just beat me in a race." "I absolutely beat you." "You did," he grinned. "My powerful, stubborn, brilliant mate. Your fast mate." "That too." They lay on the riverbank, fingers intertwined, watching clouds drift past. "Valera asked me something yesterday," Brienne said quietly. "What?" "If we'd thought about heirs." Arthelion went still. "And?" "I told her we're too busy reforming kingdoms to think about children." She paused. "But maybe, eventually." "Eventually," he agreed, voice rough with emotion. "When you're ready. Not because the council wants it or tradition demands it. When you want it." She rolled to face him. "You'd be a good father. You'd be a terrifying mother. In the best way." She laughed. "Soraya would destroy any siblings we gave her. Probably. She'd also protect them with her life. True. They lay in comfortable silence, sun warming their skin. Do you ever miss it? He asked. Your old life? No. Parts of it, maybe. The simplicity. Not having every choice scrutinized. She squeezed his hand. But I wouldn't trade this. Not for anything. Even when the council drives you mad. Even then. Because I'm changing things. Making it better for wolves like I was. She met his eyes. That's worth every frustration. Pride blazed through the bond. I knew you'd say that. You're very smug for someone who just lost a race. I'm smug because my mate is brilliant. He kissed her again, deep and slow. And because she chose me, despite having every reason not to. You're not so bad yourself? High praise. She pushed him into the river. He yanked her in after him, and they ended up wrestling in the shallows again, breathless with laughter. That evening, they returned to camp, soaking wet. Soraya took one look and sighed. You're worse than children. We're in love, Brienne corrected. There's a difference. Is there? Arthelion laughed. That's what I said. Soraya rolled her eyes. You're both ridiculous. Now come eat before the food gets cold. They ate around the fire. The three of them and a dozen guards and advisors. Someone told a terrible joke. Valera complained about a patient who wouldn't follow orders. A guard challenged another to a sparring match. It felt like family. Later, in their tent, Arthelion held Brienne close. Happy? Deliriously. Good, he kissed her temple, because I plan to keep you that way for the next several decades. Just several? Fine. Forever. Better. Through the bond, their wolves curled together, content and whole. Outside, the moon rose over Frostveil. In the lower districts, the clinic's frame stood skeletal but proud. In the forest, trees whispered secrets to the wind. And on the ridge, where an alpha king had once howled for his lost niece, 2 wolves would run again tomorrow. But tonight, a tanner's daughter who became a queen simply held her mate and knew, bone deep, that she was exactly where she belonged. The game hadn't just ended. She'd won. And so had he. The end what? Would you have done if you were Brienne? Risk your life for a stranger? Or walk away? If this story gripped you, like the video, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next gripping story.